It's really delicious. Yeah, that one's really good. I'm Andy Baraghani, a human cook and food writer. I want people to have a better understanding of how olive oil is processed, how it's harvested. It is the ingredient that I use more than any other ingredient after salt. It is the thing that I reach for first, and it's usually the last thing that I finish with on a plate. This is Cooking 101, Olive Oil Edition. Before we get into everything about olive oil, we first have to talk about how it is processed. First, it's harvested, it's ground to a paste, and then pressed, and the oil is extracted. And there's a lot of different factors that can go into it. Variety of olives, where it's produced, how it's packaged. These are all factors on how it will look and taste. You're not able to make extra virgin olive oil with the olives that you're buying in brine or in oil already. And if you ever are able to try, which I don't recommend, an olive that is used for olive oil production, you would make a face like that. There's many different words that might pop up on a label, virgin, pure, but always look for extra virgin olive oil. That's the good stuff. Think of it as the purest form. It's not mixed with anything, it's cold pressed, and you're getting this wonderful flavor, whether it is more spicy, fruity, it can range in color too, but it's olives in their purest form. Refined means that it's being processed differently. That means heat can be applied to it. It can be mixed with different types of oils, canola, vegetable, grapeseed, and again, that's kind of taken away that flavor that you're looking for. These are the tips that I have when you are looking to buy extra virgin olive oil, what you should be looking for, how to read the label. It's very easy to get confused by this. I certainly have gotten confused many, many times in the past. Olive oil is produced in many different places around the world. Spain produces the most amount of olive oil. Italy tends to get all the credit. Greece doesn't get enough credit. There are different varieties of olives that do better in certain climates in certain countries, and that will give a different kind of flavor and color, and that doesn't necessarily mean olive oils from certain countries are better than others. When it comes to single origin, and that just means the olives are coming from one place. That doesn't mean it makes it a better product. The other thing is that it could be a blend, and blends are equally, sometimes more delicious. And sometimes you go for a blend like you would with wine that is finding the kind of balance. First thing I see is harvest date. When the olives were harvested and picked, olive oil should be consumed within 2 years of that harvest date. Bottle date. In terms of harvest and bottle, there really should be a short amount of time. Just after looking at this bottle, they said within hours. When you see the bottle date, pretty much within the 2-year mark, it should be consumed. Expiration date. That's pretty straightforward. If you see an olive oil that is kind of close to its expiration date, you know, if you think you're gonna use it within the next few weeks or month, that's great. Just know that you wanna be kind of have as much time away from the expiration date, because it's the olive oil, as soon as it's bottled, it's just going to continue to gradually lose its flavor and become less potent. You really want to look for extra virgin olive oil that has been bottled in tin or dark glass. That's so that it won't allow too much sun to come through. The more sun, more light that hits the olive oil, the quicker it'll break down, it loses its viscosity, it'll affect its flavor. So generally try to avoid that. So I generally have my olive oil kind of stored in a dry, dark cabinet. If you're lucky to have windows, we're New Yorkers over here, so that's tricky. In your kitchen, you probably don't want to be leaving a bottle of olive oil. It's getting light, it's getting heat, and you really don't want to be putting your bottle of olive oil next to your stove where you are cooking, because that's only going to be heating that product, and so it'll likely affect the flavor. When you're thinking of finishing oils, think of what kind of flavor you're going for. Peppery, assertive, if it's something that's more kind of smoky, more fruity. Hummus is just the very beginning. You can use this on a yogurt dip, labna, finishing pasta, stir fry, blanched vegetables, or even on top of like really good vanilla or chocolate ice cream. We are now making a dressing, a olive oil and honey miso dressing. Think of this dressing as an all-purpose dressing. Even, I would say, a really delicious marinade. The olive oil here is doing a few different things. It is obviously providing a richness to it as additional fat. It is adding a kind of peppery, fruity, a slightly bitter note. It depends on the extra virgin you're going for. So we have 2 lemons here, and we are just going to finely zest them. I like the microplane. This is what happens. You grate garlic over a microplane and it just instantly becomes a paste. And when you do that with garlic, you get its most concentrated flavor. Okay, next we have some white miso. I'm just gonna loosen it up in the lemon juice. Dijon mustard, kind of the secret ingredient here. Acidity, a really unique tang. And then we have honey. It makes the dressing glossy, which I love. Now we stream in. Go for an extra virgin olive oil that you're spending a little bit more money on. This is not your everyday cooking extra virgin olive oil. You could see it has this incredible texture already. It's so silky and velvety. Pepper, you know, you can always add more if you like. Really in your face. Pulls you in, so sharp, so salty, so tangy, so fatty. It's very concentrated right now, which is why we need some water. I said the mustard was a secret weapon, but actually the water is the secret weapon in this dish. That mustard and pepper actually come through more. It allows you to taste everything now. It actually feels more fully thought out. Now that we have the olive oil and honey miso dressing made, I'm just gonna show you how versatile it is. We have some blanched broccolini, any kind of sturdy green vegetable would be really delicious. Now we have some soft tofu. I love the kind of gentle texture it has, and I think this creamy dressing, it's really has an assertive flavor that goes well with the tofu. Now with this dressing, I'm just gonna add a little bit to the bowl. I could always add more later. This is kind of a tutorial on not just how to make the dressing, the world of olive oil, but like how to toss a salad. And just scoop and toss. And I kind of just look to see the dressing to coat. Let's add more. And again, a gentle toss because you want the texture of the greens, you want them to retain their shape. We are making chili-fried eggs. A super easy way to make fried eggs the way I love making fried eggs, where you get the whites really nicely frizzled and browned all over the edges, but the yolk is still beautiful and runny. Here we are using extra virgin olive oil to do a few things. To create that nice textural contrast between the egg whites and the egg yolks, but then to also use the oil as a cooking medium to kind of carry the other flavors. First, just do a little bit of prep. We have some garlic. This is a little bit of a bigger chili. This is a Fresno chili. Feel free to use whatever fresh chili you have. Okay, so since we are cooking with this olive oil, I would use something more in the more affordable price range. We are taking this to a medium-high heat. Olive oil has anywhere from a 375 to 410 degree smoking point. It will lose some of its color, it'll lose some of its viscosity. You'll see once it's heated up, it'll start to kind of become loose, become more glossy, and it'll also lose some of its flavor. We're gonna season this with a little bit of salt before the whites set. And you're gonna see the eggs splatter. You can give them a little bit of a shake. Just the hot oil kind of touches the whites. They'll start to puff up. We're almost there. You're seeing the whites starting to get browned. I turn off the heat. You have the edges. I'm just gonna remove it off. And I'm gonna add my garlic and chilies. Because you just wanna kind of bloom the garlic and the chilies. And then you also will add your paprika here now. And give that another shake. And you'll see how the oil just immediately starts to kind of infuse and become this beautiful red color. You see this great, well-browned underneath. You can see how the oil is wonderfully stained from the paprika. The whites are nicely browned. The yolk is still quite soft. You have the chilies, you have the garlic. It's always amazing to see what olive oil can do here, and it is creating this wonderful texture from the egg, but it's also extracting the flavor from the chilies, the garlic, and the paprika. It just makes something really, really delicious into something I would eat for kind of like any meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It says tuna, but you could use swordfish here, you can use halibut, and you want kind of one big piece. We're using 1.5 pounds, boneless, skinless, a piece of tuna here, really beautiful piece of tuna. The extra virgin olive oil here, we are using copious amounts. We're using a little over 2 cups worth. It's gonna be the kind of medium to cook the fish, and then we're using some of that leftover oil to make the aioli. First, we're just going to kind of season this tuna with a little bit of salt all over, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes ahead of time, just so the salt can really absorb. We're gonna start by infusing extra virgin olive oil with these ingredients. These are just some of the ingredients that I like to flavor the oil. An onion, garlic, bay leaves, thyme, just kind of crushing this a little bit to get those oils going. Chili, I'll just split in half. And then citrus peel, just doing wide strips. So I'm just gonna pour the oil here. We're gonna save this oil. We're gonna use some of it for the aioli. You can save the rest to saute greens, saute vegetables, so it will not be wasted, I promise. This does not need to be the strongest, most assertive, your fruitiest or pepperiest. This should be just good olive oil that you would cook with. And this is really important. There's a reason why I'm not adding to the fish right now. We need this to kind of heat up, pull the oils from the different things, pull the flavorings from all the different stuff, the oils from the citrus, from the herbs, the chilies, let the kind of onions and garlic soften, and then we'll slip the fish in, and then they could take those flavors on. The redness from the onion has kind of faded a little bit. The herbs are not as green as they used to. Things are just slowly starting to cook and soften. And we're gonna lower the heat and then slip the fish in and let that cook. If the tuna isn't fully submerged, that is okay. We can just add a little bit more oil, and then we'll just let this gradually cook. The fish will become more opaque. You could obviously pull it out and test it. It really depends on how you like it done, whether it's medium rare, medium well. You cook it however you prefer. All right, we have 1 yolk, some Dijon mustard. We're just gonna break the yolk and start to whisk this. We take a deep breath. It's been 20 years I've been making aioli. I don't have a fear, I'm not scared, but it's like, I hope it doesn't break. Slow and steady, look at it, check in, worship it, tell it silently that it's better than you. My rule of thumb is usually with 1 egg yolk, you're using 3/4 to 1 cup of fat. Here we're using 1 cup. I think any more than that, it's really hard on the egg yolk. And I'm not even trying to be funny, it's really hard for the egg yolk to take more fat. Well, now it's becoming similar to like a mayonnaise. You can see bigger streaks, tighter streaks, and there's a certain point where you want to make sure it doesn't get too tight, because then it can break. So we have our 1/2 cup already streamed in of the infused leftover oil. And now we have 1/2 cup of neutral oil. And we're using that neutral oil to provide balance. If you use just leftover oil, the aioli would just taste too strong of a condiment for the fish. We are going to add 4 cloves of garlic. You could smash it before you go in. I just kind of take my whisk and I just kind of go around like this gently. I love this just as it is. That infused oil is doing so much of the work here. Let's put it up. We just look for the fish to become opaque. Cooking it to doneness of your preference, medium rare, medium well. Because it's submerged in all that fat, it's actually very forgiving. So even if you were to cook it maybe a little bit past what you prefer, it's still gonna taste really delicious. It tastes so fancy, that's the thing. Like, I eat so much tuna. I eat so much canned tuna, to be specific. But this is, you can't even compare it because it is so rich. It's so decadent. If there's one big takeaway, it's that extra virgin olive oil isn't just a cooking ingredient, but it is a seasoning, it's a texture, and it can really change the way you're cooking. It can make it more alive and more delicious, and really just make a dish stand out. So keep trying different olive oils and find the one that you love. You can find all these recipes at NYT Cooking and in the link below.